We're gonna start this one like that. Yeah, thank you. We're gonna start this one like that. Hey, how's it going? It's the Erskin Music Show. So excited that you guys have chosen to join in and what I believe is to be the premier the premier show today of the Erskin Music Show. No, the first time that we've done a movie review today. So hang out with us for a little bit. Give your opinion if you want to. If you've seen this movie before, if not, hopefully it'll give you a cause to either see it or save your money. So we're going to be doing that a little bit today. That's our top story today. But before we do all of that, we got to give some shout outs. Come on, the people, y'all out there. Johnson City, always representing strong out there. Johnson City, Tennessee. The Midwest represents strong. There's some folks out in KC who love it. They want some more of it. And some folks, actually, some of the Nashville viewership has been bumping up. And so we're excited to see that. But we are trying to get those subs up. We're trying to get all the folks that are in Texas, Temple, Texas, to be exact. I'm gonna call you out by name because a prophet is without honor in his hometown. That's how that works. And so, yeah, excited about that. We got Big Head in the studio over here that I'll be referring to from time to time. That's me looking at me and reminding me to be on my best behavior for you guys today. And then Ruby, Scooby, and Denzel. Denzel is the new one. You guys have heard me talk about Ruby and Scooby before. The kids named them, but I actually thought, it's my time. It's my time to come up in this world. I'm going to name one of the mannequins. And so the other mannequin that's in the middle here with the Erskin Jumpman on there is Denzel, aptly named after Denzel Washington. And I'll let you just do whatever you do with all that information. And so we're going to get into it today, but I wanted to give a couple of shouts out to the folks that are there. And I wanted to make sure that we're good to the subs. Always got to be good to the subs. We're at 766 and climbing. So if you're watching us on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and or Twitch, remember to subscribe to the channel and enable the notifications so that you don't miss a single episode of the Erskin Music Show. All right. So as we get started this morning, I wanted to just say hello to everybody. Done that already, and just let you guys know. I hate saying this at the beginning, but the comment section is not N-O-T. The comment section is not turned on right now because as you are watching this, somehow by some dint of a miracle of time or some kind of warp or something Dr. Strange happened here. And I'm actually traveling in a car right now, careening to a place called Michigan or the frozen tundra or whatever that place is. So I'm headed to Michigan right now. And so you guys are seeing a pre-recorded show. I hate saying that, but it is. I mean, it's the truth. Pre-recorded show, but I think this is some evergreen content that I think you guys could come back to time and time again. So tell your friends, call your friends, let them know. Come on, let's go. What's up? What's up? So yeah. Thank you. So all that just simply to say, it's still going to be a great show today. So glad you guys are checking in with us. Let's do this really quickly, and then we'll get started with some stuff. There's a segment that we call "That's Weird," and sometimes the segment itself is weird, but sometimes the host is weird, or I should say, all the time the host is weird. Sometimes the segment is weird.
That's weird.
Hey, I've got some facts for you guys about sleep. I don't know if you guys are sleeping well. I don't know if you guys are watching this so that you can sleep better. Hopefully that's not the case, but every once in a while you gotta talk about sleep. And immediately when I saw this picture of this lady, I thought she's not asleep, she's awake. She's wait for it, folks. She's woke, but she's laying in bed, so that doesn't really count as sleep. But I have some interesting facts here. And as always, because this it's cited under fair use, let's make sure that we check our facts so that we're not just internet smart. So let's actually go and research these things. But I am internet smart on these couple of things. And so let's fact check and figure this out. But according to surveys of some sort, 12% of people dream entirely in black and white. 12% of the people that are out there. I don't know what the sample size is. I don't know what country that is. But that's interesting to know that from whatever sample size that they came up with, there were 12% of people who only entirely dream in black and white. Big Head, did you know that? Did you guys know that there were people who, I didn't even know that there were people who dreamed in black and white. I knew that there were people who were colorblind, but I guess they would be technically dream blind, if that's a thing. So dreaming completely in black and white. If you are watching this show and you dream completely in black and white, would you please send a message and say, yeah, that's me. I can actually personally relate to that. You are part of the minority here. You're part of the 12%ers that are actually out there dreaming in black and white. Didn't know that. So you get a beatbox. All right, another fact here, if you didn't know that, for the That's Weird section. 2/3 of a cat's life are spent asleep. 2/3 of a cat's life are spent asleep.
That's weird.
Now, you guys know I have a fond affection for cats on this show. Absolutely not. I'm a cat psychologist, as people have described me. And so anytime when it comes to cats, the show gets a little bit weird. You guys get nutty on this show as a reference to in reference to cats. And so this show, who knows? As I'm traveling right now, this show may completely crater because people are tuning in and they're writing about their cats. We have more cat stories and more cat participation on the show. I'm trying to change this. That's why I'm a cat psychologist. But we have more cat participation on this show than sometimes people were talking about Christ. And so I'm just going to let that rest there for all of you cat lovers who love to badger me about this. But yes, 2/3 of cats. Did you know about giraffes? And this is kind of a note here to beatbox here. A giraffe only needs 1.9 hours of sleep a day, whereas a brown bat needs 19.9 hours a day. So I am almost like a giraffe. Okay. For those of you who don't sleep very much, you are more like the giraffe than you are the bat. And so I would imagine that for some of you, you are more like the giraffe. Others of you are probably more like the bat. And that hence we could do a whole episode on coffee if we needed to in the future. And so let's keep beatboxing and getting some more facts here. Did you know that humans spend 1/3 of their life sleeping? Okay. That's where it is. If you're going to sleep, okay, so the percentage would be humans spend 1/3 of their life sleeping, but 88% of them sleep in color because the other 12%. See how I did that quick math? Woo, you weren't even watching that. It just came to you. 88% of people who spend 1/3 of their life sleeping sleep in color. I came up with a new statistic there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And last but not least, the record for the longest period of going without sleep. Don't try to break this record, people. We got better stuff to do in our lives. In fact, this might add to that total of 1/3 of our life if we keep trying to break records like this. I do not want to break this record. There's some things that I want to get notoriety for. There's some things that I want to accomplish in this world, but breaking this record is not one of them. Did you know that the record for the longest period of sleep is 11 days without sleep? Woo! Sideways, sideways. I ain't sleeping like 9, 10, 11 days. Wow, that's incredible. So that is the segment that we affectionately call
That's weird.
Because it is. All right, let's go. Let's get some Bible time up in here, man. Let's get some praise up. Okay, I think the praise break is going to keep going all day long. It should. All right, grab your Bibles today. We're in Proverbs chapter 3. Let's break it down. Let's break it down. I'm reading from the Net Translation and keeping the praise going. Little Bible time here. Little Bible action this morning. You guys know we're going to always get into the Bible. That just got to happen. Oh, and yeah, by the way, as I get started with Bible time, can anybody tell me who that man is on the screen? First of all, I'm going to go ahead and say that man on the screen is not me. All right, so give you a quick side by side. That man, not me. Man, that not Erskin. Okay, that's not Erskin's dad either. All right, so there you go. You guys can guess and be mildly intrigued while I do this Bible time for us today. So we're going to praise the Lord. All right, so I'm in Proverbs chapter 3, and the whole theme of Proverbs chapter 3, as you well know, is about wisdom. It's about how one views, and I would say by virtue of not only just viewing wisdom, but one values wisdom and the necessity of wisdom in our lives and how rich and important that is. We have a section where it talks about it's like the tree of life. Verse 19, wisdom has laid the foundation of the earth, the knowledge of the primordial. And then he gets to verse 21 and says, my child, do not let them, being wisdom, escape from your sight. Safeguard sound wisdom and discretion. And why would we do that? He says in the next verse, so they will become life for your soul and grace around your neck. And so he places a supreme value on wisdom. But here's the verse that I wanted to look at, but I don't think you can look at that series of verses without with this verse without looking at those series of verses that are leading up to it. Then when you walk, your way will be security, and you will not stumble. Here's where sleep part comes in. When you lie down, you will not be filled with fear. When you lie down, your sleep will be pleasant. And so I would just say, my friends, if you're out there and there's a unsettled spirit that you have to yourself, an unsettled nature, maybe you're thinking about finances, maybe you're thinking about circumstances in your life, maybe you're thinking about career, maybe you're thinking about broken relationships, all those different things that you might be experiencing right now as you're going through life. Please know that the Bible has given us in 66 books through over 40 different authors, over 1,500 years, a collection of God's wisdom. And more so than just being casual suggestions about how life can be lived, they are wooden, literal understandings of the fixed nature of who God is and what it is that he does in our lives as we relate to Christ Jesus, as we understand what it means to turn from our sins, put our trust completely in him. There is a calming effect that takes place in our lives. Perhaps if you're having trouble sleeping, perhaps if you're having, you're that 12% of people who sleep in black and white, maybe some of that time that you're spending in preparation for going to sleep can be spent in God's word. Maybe like this lady that we had earlier on here, who looked like she was kind of fake sleeping. As you wake up in the morning, spending time in God's word and just knowing the Lord is the one who's going to bring about that peace and bring about that productivity in our lives and bring about that balance in our lives that causes us to be both productive and then find our times of rest in those rhythms of life. And so I think those are great verses for us to look at. Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, wisdom literature is really great in our lives for establishing rhythms. And so I know we're in 2022 at this point. Many people have endeavored to start out with new regimes and new routines in their lives. And so I just wanted to say that find our way to the Proverbs, find our way to wisdom literature to establish some of those rhythms in life that are so vitally important. All right, Bible time, folks. Let's get it, choir. Okay, that's enough of that. All right, let's get to it. Our top story for today. Oh, wait. We do Erskin music on the Erskin Music Show. All right, I wanted to hit you with one that is, you're not going to see this one coming. I bet you can't guess what's coming next on the Erskin Music Show. Hit it!
We were made in the image of God. Every man, woman, boy, and girl. We were made in the image of God. God so loved that it changed the world. We can change the world. In the beginning, when God made people, he made a boy, he made a girl, gave us dominion over creation, told us to go into all the world. We were made in the image of God.
I bet you didn't see that one coming. All right. That was that was Yancey and myself. Here's her new book called Sweet Sound: The Power of Discipling Kids in Worship. And I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of this and were able to see this. This is great stuff that she's got that has recently come out. I went to the book release of this, and so I would highly commend. We've had Yancey on the show talking about this book, but I wanted to just play that song and then point you to. Oh, she's even got little bookmarks there. Can we see Yancey coming up? It's like a little children's adventure book, like a little pop-up Yancey coming out of her book there. And so anyway, there's that, made in the image of God. So happy to do that. Yeah, so let's get to our top story for today. All right. Top story for today. We are talking about American Underdog, the movie that features Kurt Warner. And we went to go see this on December the 26th. So the day after it came out. It wasn't a crowded movie theater. I thought, I wonder how many people out in Colorado, we were out in Colorado at the time. I wonder how many people actually know about this movie and are looking forward to this movie. But I had heard about it and I was actually looking forward to it in the realm of, finding things to do over the holidays with your family. I thought, what a great opportunity for us to watch a movie that I think has some really cool redemptive value. And so we went to go see it. In all ways, I guess this is a part of our culture and a part of the era in which we've grown up. You see these movies that are quote unquote faith-based films, and you're like holding your breath. You're like, I really am glad that they're putting that kind of positive content and faith content that is out there for the public. But you really don't want it to be bad. You really don't want it to be cheesy. In fact, you want people, we would say, normal, non-believing, secular, whatever the term is, people to be able to go to the movie and then watch the movie and think, I got a message about Christ, and I didn't feel like I was, treated to the worst movie in the history of the world. That, you've got to some Christian films, it's like, no, you have to like this because you're a Christian. You're like, oh, but the art is so bad. And so, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about American Underdog and get some of that on the screen. We're not going to be watching any clips from the movie. Don't think I can do that just yet, even though it's fair use. We're just going to talk about it today. So for the show notes for today, you'll see that I did Ebert's review, and then I also did a plugged in review. There's many other reviews that are out there, but let me just give you a quick background of what this story is in case you've never heard of it before. This is an inspirational story of the player, Kurt Warner, who overcomes years of challenges and setbacks and becomes the two-time NFL MVP and Super Bowl champion. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Just when his dreams seemed all but out of reach, it's only with the support of his wife, Brenda, and the encouragement of his family, coaches, and teammates that Warner perseveres and finds the strength to show the world the champion that he already is. So that's a little bit of the write-up of the movie, and I was intrigued. They say, we need another football movie. Let's try to tell some people about Jesus. What kind of storyline can we put behind it? What about a football movie? What about, let's call it Facing the Giants? Those kind of things have been popular before in the past. But the thing that drew me to this movie was, one, I grew up in an era in which I remember watching what was described as the greatest show on turf. And those Rams team that were so high powered in terms of their offense. And obviously being here in Tennessee and the Rams have an interesting relationship, having gone to a Super Bowl in Tennessee, almost winning that Super Bowl, coming inches away and being defeated by at the time, the St. Louis Rams. And so I remember that with pretty clear memory of what those teams were like. And so the fact that it was a true story kind of drew me in a little bit, and that was a faith-based film. Obviously, I'm on that note as well. So I wanted to start with what potentially people would call the negative content. And again, you can make comments throughout the show. I just won't be able to read them and then respond to them. Normally, when the comment section is turned on, I can respond to what it is that you guys are saying, and then we can have a little dialogue about what it is that you guys are doing. Seems like there's a little bit of a lag, and so I will try not to move around that much for this episode. So here's some content. This is more from Ebert, Roger Ebert, but he says guess, kind of curious note about this show was that the person, or the point of the person in the profession, becoming a huge success in this movie, kind of had some awkwardness to it. This is kind of a little bit more on the negative side of it, the critical side. I'll say the critical side of what was going on in this movie. Um, you know, having a film where you have the person, you really want to present a person that you like, so that the underdog becomes somebody that the audience cheers for. He felt like at times that was a little bit disjointed in this movie, although I felt like maybe that review wasn't that good, because I do feel like there were times, especially in relationship to, and I don't want to do any spoilers in this, but Kurt Warner and the way that he related to Brenda, who would eventually become his wife, the way that he related to her family, I thought was an endearing part of the movie that drew you closer to the main character and made you, almost with every setback that he would experience those setbacks with him, because you're like, man, he's a really nice guy and we want him to succeed. You'd still need to give audiences a sense of the qualities that allowed him to break through, other than repeating those over and over. He's a nice guy who believes in God and was good to his girlfriend and her son. All right, so he really kind of felt like, and I read, you can read through the interview or the article in its entirety, but he really did kind of feel like maybe that was a little overplayed in the movie. I thought it, if you're telling a story and it's a true story, I thought they did a good job of highlighting some of those things. And so I wouldn't count that as a negative element. I would just say that, people who are a little bit skeptical of the faith-based element there, the combination of the fact that of his lifestyle and the faith, it didn't really, and I'm glad that they didn't do this. I think this would have been unnecessary. I think it would have messed up the art if they would have said, okay, the reason why he's treating people this way is because he was in prayer meeting and then he came out of prayer meeting, or is because he was in a church, or he read his Bible and he got up from his Bible and he's like, I need to go and treat people well. I actually thought that was a strength of the movie, and it kept it from that certain cheese factor that sometimes Christian movies can get into, where you have to tie everything that they're doing to something that is related to the Bible or some spiritual experience. I think the spiritual experience that you see in this movie, and this is what was refreshing to me, is his actual life. Like, he lived that way. And so therefore you can see, oh, as a man of faith, these are kind of the things, but you don't necessarily get that up front in your face. So critically speaking, if you're a person who wants, like, I want everything to be absolutely clear, like, why did he do that? Why did he say that to that person? Is he manipulating them, or is he doing that because of a relationship with God? If you want everything to be spelled out, maybe this movie doesn't quite get you there to that point. But I think there's enough in the movie to help you understand Brenda is extremely strong in her faith. And then Kurt kind of takes that journey, almost as it were, she leads him to taking that journey to a greater degree. And I think maybe if you had Kurt Warner, and Kurt, you're welcome to come on the show. I know you're busy with some of the sports, especially during the time of the Super Bowl. You're busy with what it is that you're doing in your color commentary now, but as a commentator. But I think he would probably maybe say either yay or nay to that aspect of the film. That being, hey, Brenda, my wife, was an inspiration to me. Her strong faith helped me to establish a strong faith and stronger faith. And you get a chance to see that in the movie. So anyway, that would be something I'd be interested to hear from him more on. There are some other things here that both positive and negative. This is from Plugged In, and I put their entire show notes. I put their entire review in the show notes as well. So if you wanted to go and see that, you can click that link. American Underdog gives us an intimate, gritty, heartfelt portrayal of the path Kurt and Brenda walk together. And make no mistake, the story is not Kurt alone, because without Brenda's love and encouragement, things may not have turned out the way that they did. In that sense, the movie is as much a story about their love for each other as it is about Kurt overcoming the longest odds to reach the absolute pinnacle of the profession of sports in America. Yeah, so this is something that I just had a twinge of, okay, just let me reset myself, because I'm thinking American Underdog, Rams, Kurt Warner. I didn't know that he'd gone to UNI, but he did. And so I'm expecting it to be a lot of high flying action, football, touchdowns. Here we go. His attitude, mentality, setbacks. And it was all of those things but I will say that it was mostly that being wrapped in the context of his relationship with Brenda. And so there was more of a love story and an emerging, growing love story that took place in that than there was action in football. And so, we took the family to go see this, and we took some of our relatives as well. And I was really hoping that it was going to be worthwhile. And they all came away loving this movie. And so, from that aspect, it does keep men's attention because of some of the sports and the action and enough drama, and maybe not too much drama that it gets annoying. And it does keep women's attention, obviously, with the drama. And there were some really sweet scenes that were in that movie. So there's that. Brenda and Kurt's faith plays an important role in encouraging and also supporting them as they go through their moments of doubt, disappointment, and terrible loss. They still believe that God is with them. A little bit about the Irwin brothers, who are responsible for the film I Can Only Imagine, I Still Believe, Woodline, Mom's Night Out. Let me just say a quick note here. I know we're at 27 minutes, but let me just say the Irwin brothers, all of those movies are movies that I can relate to from the standpoint that I don't feel like they're cheesy movies. The movie I Can Only Imagine, wonderful acting. If you've never seen that movie before, they just knocked it out of the park. Telling the story of Mercy Me, Bart Millard, and a lot of what it was that they went through as a band. They're really good at capturing the essence of that song, what it meant both collectively and individually, capturing Amy Grant in some endearing moments. I Still Believe, the Jeremy Camp movie that they did, wonderful. Love that one as well. Really rich cinematography along with a powerful storyline. Wonderful. And Woodline, I would say, with all due respect to American Underdog, Woodline is still my favorite sports and football movie. I rank Woodline actually up there a little bit, just a hair, just a tick above Remember the Titans. And I got a mannequin named Denzel. So I'm all about me some Denzel movies. But so Woodline, one of my absolute favorites, and Mom's Night Out, another great movie. And so, this is a little bit different movie than any of those other ones because although it takes the biographical side, they actually tell a story in it really well done. And it happens to be a true story. And so they didn't have to embellish a lot there. But the parts where they did embellish, Irwin brothers, you've got my seal of approval. All right. So there were some issues in this film that I think Plugged In brings out. And I think they would be worth mentioning to you guys. The concern for some of the viewers would be the fact that there's some innuendo related to their relationship, like how they probably lived together before they were married, and how they nuanced that was a little tricky there. But as the Plugged In reviewers were saying, they were there to try to depict a reality of the world in which Kurt and Brenda's story takes place. And so it would have been disingenuous, I think, if they had lived together at maybe a lower ebb in their spiritual lives and maybe a point of desperation before they were married. I don't know what the circumstances were, but I'm just simply saying it would have been disingenuous for them to clean that up in the movie for the sake of manufacturing a story that didn't actually exist. Can I say it like that? But to say, we're going to tell this part of the story, know that faith was an important component in how they were growing in their faith, how they were growing in their relationship together, and how they were experiencing circumstances and working through those circumstances, I think gives the movie actually, and this was something that made me a little bit nervous because I had some younger kids that were with me who were watching those elements of the film. That's one of the things that I actually looked at as the story arc of the movie and said, the movie and the relationship is getting stronger. It's getting better. It's becoming, if you wanted to be wooden literal about the relationship, the Bible's pretty clear about marriage and the marriage bed undefiled and all of those different things. But I thought the story progresses with strength in that direction and gives a very real, I think, assessment of how people grow in that area. And so, so there's that. Like the Plugged In reviewers say this, and I think this is important. They They're stuck in the balance between restraint and realism here in a way that feels neither false nor gratuitous. Adam Holtz is the guy who wrote the Plugged In article. As of right now, and it's probably a little bit more, but I would say it's kind of hover around this number, maybe eventually peaking out with maybe a couple more million, but we're at 23.4 million on this movie so far. And so that is not bad in terms of how this movie is actually done. All right, so your comments are always welcome. Have you seen this film? After that review, do you want to see this film? After that review, is this something that you think, hey, you want to bring other people to go and see the film? I'm going to give my opinion here in just a few moments. But let me say, American Underdog movie review. Okay, let me do subs real quick here. Folks who are still watching us. All right, for those of you who have a long attention span, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Twitter, please remember to subscribe and enable the notifications. All right, so I would just say, for my opinion, and we'll get out of here, we'll get out of class a little bit early today, but for my opinion, I think the movie was actually done on a level in which you see great cinematography, they tell a great story, there's great acting. It's redemptive story in the sense that okay, so how many of us have been what we feel like slighted an opportunity to succeed, only later to get that opportunity, only to eventually succeed? And there's a measure of vindictiveness in which you come and you put it in the face of people and say, you know what, you didn't believe in me, and I always believed in me, and so I overcame. And so there you go, put that, take this job and shove it. You put it in their face. There's not a spirit of vindictiveness. And Kurt Warner actually goes through a lot of tribulation, travail in this story, and then comes out the other side, not only not vindictive, but he comes out the other side in a way that endears him to his teammates and endears him to his coaches and endears him to his family. And I think, here's my opinion in my review, I think by the time that you get to the end of the movie, if you go and you take yourself or you take others to go and see the movie, the way that that is filmed and the way that that happened is a way that's going to endear you to this movie as well. It's a movie. Here's a good litmus test for me. It's a movie that I would say, hey, I would watch this movie again. And that's always interesting because sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, that was a great movie. Never watch it again, but that was a great movie. I felt vindicated in that sense of time there. And so there's that aspect of it. I feel like, yeah, I want to give this an A minus. You know, there were some elements that maybe I was a little uncomfortable with in terms of the nature of their relationship, but realism without being grotesque and going over the top. That's going to be a continuing discussion, I think, with redeeming love out there now. How much is too much? How does art, theology, and life reflect itself on the screen? And how do we need to process that in our age of being very visual thinkers? We're visual before we're thinkers. And because of that, I want to give this an A in the A range, A minus, just because of a couple of elements there. If you know you're going to what is mostly a drama with really good football action in it, then you're better off. I was thinking I was going to a movie about a lot of football action with just a little bit of drama in there. Not so much that I'd be annoyed, but it was more on the lines of drama. And so just for me personally, yeah, some of those scenes didn't need to be as long as they were. I could bring my wife in there. She's like, yeah, some of those football scenes didn't need to be as long as they were. So you know how it is up out there. Husband and wife can have two different views of that. So that was my official review, my Erskin Music official review. Did you guys know this is the Erskin Music Show? All right. Well, we're going to leave on some fireworks. All right, so it's the Erskine Music Show. A couple of announcements before we get out of here. I am headed to Michigan, and so watch the social media, friends. I've got concerts that are coming up, I think, in Indiana on the way. Yeah, we're trying to pin that one down. It could be a range of different dates that one is going to show up. So we're trying to get that one nailed down. But we know on February the 7th, we will be up in Saginaw. So if you're in the Midland and Saginaw area, I will be coming there soon. And we'll be able to spend some time together. I'll spend a little bit of time in Grand Rapids and some other places in Michigan. And so just watch the social media. I may be at a place near where you're at where you can get out to. And so that'd be tremendous. All right, we're at 36 minutes today. This is the Erskin Music Show. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Hopefully and prayerfully, we are efforting best we can to make sure that tomorrow's show is a live show. And then the comment section will be turned on, and we will have all of that good fun that we normally have when we're on the Erskin Music Show. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you, and enjoy.